All right, hello, Cheerskevin here, and welcome to a very exciting episode of Nowhere. This is the episode where we automate our draconic infusion crafting, and I'm very excited. I've moved stuff around a little bit because, we're going to need access to these. If we look at all of the available recipes in fusion crafting, we'll notice that some of these require as many as 10 of these side items. And of course, this is a chaotic tier, so we need to upgrade all those infusers and whatnot. But that's 10 side items plus a main item. That's 11 total items, which presents some problems for our auto crafting. But we're going to make a couple of assumptions. One is that if we look at these recipes, that there's never going to be actually, we don't even have to make that. Okay, we're going to make the assumption that we can, by saying 2 of a thing, we can at least limit this to fitting in 9 slots, and that on our recipe card we can put this middle, or the item that goes in the middle, in the first slot, and then we need to be able to separate things out. So this is going to be a little bit of an involved process to get us able to do this. And of course, I haven't rerouted our cables because I want to get this automated, and then we'll craft ourselves some suits that will give us creative flight, and it'll be amazing. But okay. Before we can really even fully construct this, we need to proof of concept a couple of things. So remember, the whole system for AE's auto crafting is that there's an interface, and it basically will dump a whole bunch of loot into an area, and then it's up to us to figure out how to process it. So if we imagine we had an interface here, it's going to give us all of the ingredients for a particular recipe. So if we were trying to craft this bow, first thing it would do, it would give us the bow of the either one, the draconic bow or the bow of the wyvern. It will put that in the top left of the recipe slot, and then it will give us some of all of these. And because these are duplicated, we don't even necessarily have to put these in as separate slots. We can put them in as their own things, and that's great. But then, so we get all of that material. We have to split out the first item to make sure that it routes to over here, and then the rest of the items, which are the infusion items, and make sure that those get round-robined over to all of these injectors. Now, we have a total potential maximum of 10, so I still need to craft another one of these and put it up here. Most of the recipes don't require that many, but some of them do, so we want to make sure that we can support even the most fancy of those things. But if we use round-robin logic, then we should be able to make sure that only one of each item goes to there. There is a way also, just for the record, I guess if we put okay, let's just put that on there. We can limit the stack size that it will pull out. So we can take this all the way down to a stack size of 1, so that if we put in, for example, 36 dirt, and it's connected to 36 chests, it will put 1 dirt in each chest. So that's something we don't have to worry about. If we can manage to extract all of those secondary crafting components, we can just set our servo to round robin, and it will go ahead and make sure that only one of those ends up in each of these slots, which is what we want. We don't want to discover that we have some recipe that requires, 6 diamonds, and then it ends up putting all 6 in one area. Because right now, you can do that, which is kind of annoying. We don't want it to do that. Oh, you know what? If we right-click here, there's a single item mode. Haha. Well, that's nice. Cool. Well, we could do that too. Nice. But there are 2 big challenges that I have yet to fully solve, and we're gonna proof of concept them here. One is the challenge of, let's plop down a chest. Just as an example, let's assume that our interface throws stuff into this chest. And we've queued up a recipe, and it requires a power cell and then a whole bunch of dirt. So it's going to dump the power cell in the first slot, and then it's going to dump all this dirt. And our job is to take the power cell out and route that over to here, and to take all of the dirt and route 1 of them each into these. And of course, we don't care if there's 10 of them. We don't care if there's 5 of them. Since we'll have it set to round robin, it can just throw it where it finds the nearest spot, and that's fine. And then once this is all done, we'll have to figure out the redstone system for, hey, everything's distributed, send a redstone pulse to the crafting core, and get this thing crafting up. And then, of course, we'll extract that back and send that into the system. But here's another problem. What if I want to craft up 2 of these? Well, then there's potentially an issue, because the recipe calls, in this hypothetical recipe, calls for 6 dirt and 1 power cell. Then our interface is going to go ahead and drop, it's going to drop more of these in here, and then if we're still in the middle of doing stuff, then it's possible that it's going to end up sending more ingredients than we strictly need. Now, that may not be an issue. It could be you can run the Draconic Evolution thing, and if there are extra ingredients and extra injectors, who cares? It's fine. It can just sit there. But I don't want to trust that, and I don't want to trust that there are no recipe conflicts either, because it could be that, hey, if you run 2 dirt, then that changes something or whatever reason. So even though our initial recipe only calls for 6 of these, now we'd be sending 12 down the line. Of course, it would only fill up 10, and then it would wait until things are crafted to get rid of the last 2. Anyway, we want to make sure that this thing does it right. What we need to do is set up a way such that we still can say, hey, I'm going to need 5 of these things, but that the interface is not able to dump more than 1 recipe worth of stuff at a time. And particularly because it could end up that we've queued up different recipes, and so instead of, we've extracted these 2, they're on their way over to there, and all of a sudden it dumps in some dense covered cable for whatever reason, and then that gets in there, and then it ends up with the entirely wrong recipe because, it's in the middle of, trying to queue up multiple things, and that would not be great. So I want to test a thing, and that idea is, hey, can we move something out of the way? So if our interface, we'll use dirt to represent our interface. If our interface is over here, can we just push our receiving chest out of the way until it's done being fully processed? And of course, the chest, as far as chests go, no, you can't do that. Chests cannot be sticky pistoned. So I was looking through, and I found, hey, there's a small storage crate from Actually Editions, and there's also a storage crate from Immersive Engineering. Maybe those would suit our needs. Unfortunately, those are all going to require treated planks, and we've been voiding our materials over here. Derp. In fact, you know what? I think we can take down this pipe entirely, because at this point, we've got plenty of steel. And if we have to spin this back up, we can, but I'm perfectly fine to just say, let this thing run until it fills up with creosote, and after that, we don't particularly care. Is this enough? No, it is not. I suppose another thing we could do, let me put some stuff away here. Another thing we could do would be to grab an interface out of here. Oh, this is reverted back. Yeah, there was a small update that we pulled down. Let's tell it to craft up an interface, because we could at least test another item here, and that is, hey, if you have an interface pointing into a thing, and then you remove the thing, does the interface stay where it's supposed to be? That's an open question we would need to verify. So if, for example, we had, let's say something like this, and then I guess underneath, we need the interface. Of course, we want the interface in its other form. You have our interface like that, and then it's going to be a pain in the butt to place, isn't it? Let's say we have dirt here, and we have an interface pointing into that dirt for some dumb reason, and we have a cable like that. If this gets moved, okay, the interface stays in place, and it should be fine. It's not going to be able to push more stuff into the sticky piston. Now, my understanding is that this interface should dump everything all at once. It could be that that's not true, though, and so we need to be mindful of that. But basically what we would then do is we could use a comparator out from here to detect when anything gets put into here, and then immediately trigger the sticky piston to move this out of the way. Crate. The small storage crate. There we go. And we get some achievements for that in Actually Editions. And this one as well. And this pushes us toward generating oil and doing canola stuff and empowered oil and all that fancy stuff. Let's see if this is pushable. And the answer is no, it is not. So this small storage crate is not something we can easily just get out of the way, which is a bummer. All right, so Immersive Engineering, it's up to you. Can you do this? A wooden storage crate? I don't know what sort of inventory this has, for the record. We need something that has at least 9 slots. Can we push you? No, we cannot. Okay. Well, back to the drawing board on that then. I wonder if I've been overthinking this. Maybe we don't need to move things at all. Maybe... No, we really kind of do. Yeah, this is a problem. Okay, I want to try and figure out even more closely how this works. So I've just gone ahead and torn out our fluid monitor, since we're not really using it, and thrown this interface over here. We're going to craft up a pattern real quick. That's going to be our nonsense sort of testing pattern. And yeah, what was the idea? It was like... Sure. We'll say that this infusion recipe that we want to check, it's a processing pattern, and we'll assume that it's going to require 1 oak wood and 6 dirt. So we'll say 1. No, not 24 dirt. Oh, we've got that here. Okay, cool. And 6 dirt. Okay. So we will tell it that's what we need to be able to make, and we need to make sure that we don't end up trying to process too many the wrong things. And that the result is I don't know. Sure, we'll tell it the we'll tell it the result of that is to give us a Palace crystal. So this is again just a very dumb, a dumb fake way of testing things, but we can at least then test requesting this recipe and see what happens. Oops, there we go. There's our pattern. So if I then ask for a Palace crystal, yeah, we can ask for it here. That's fine. Okay, here we go. Palace. Oh, we've got a bunch of them. Fine. Tell it to make one. And now it's going to start trying to make one. And what does this do? If we look here... okay. I was wondering if maybe the items would end up in here. But I don't think that they do. It does think that it's in the process of doing this. And if I put a chest down, or a storage crate, I guess, it will throw the materials into there. And now it's waiting because it's like, hey, let's do this. Give me the thing back. Hooray. Okay, I think we're gonna go with a little more primitive of an idea. I've looked at some other folks' designs for these, and I wanted to see if we could get something cleaner, but it looks iffy. Now I've seen some people that basically they use a dispenser, and then as soon as any materials get in here, they start chucking in junk from elsewhere. So they'll use labeled stuff that won't stack, just try and fill this up. And you use a dispenser just because it happens to have 9 slots, and that's great. A lot of times you'll put a redstone next to it so that this thing remains powered, so it doesn't just start actually dispensing items. It's just to give us a space that has 9 slots. I suppose we could find, if any of these other chests happen to have 9, but they do not, so that's fine. The hopper would work perfectly because you can lock it, but it doesn't have the requisite inventory slot. So if we had stuff that required more than 5 unique items, we'd be in trouble. But this one, at least, we could get all the materials out right away. So what I was oh, you know what? Yeah, that wouldn't work either. What I started to think is, hey, what we could do is just basically set up our recipe, modify it so that we automatically, put junk in here. So some junk thing. It wouldn't necessarily matter what it was, but just to automatically fill up these slots, and that way nothing else would end up inserting here. The problem then, though, is that we might, if we queued up 2 of these recipes, then this thing still would end up, well, actually, okay, looking at these recipes, some of them have the same first ingredient, but different infusion stuff, which makes sense. So we can't just rely on, hey, you're only ever going to queue up multiple of, no, we need to, because the problem is that if we end up queuing 2 of the same recipe, and it throws in double into here, well, you know what, no, if these don't stack, if we pick an item that doesn't stack, well, the problem is that those still need to be fed back into the system. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and enchant this oak wood and call it token. And that should not stack. Well, hang on. Yeah, I think this may work. And this may obviate the need for us to do any of this. It may be a little slower than what you could probably eke out of this, but okay. I have a thought now. Let's try a recipe. Let's pull the recipe out of here. Oh, we didn't even put it in there. Fair enough. Oh, there it is. Right. Okay, fair enough. Reset that. Put that in our set of patterns, and we are going to say, okay, here's my thought, and I'm also immediately seeing a problem with it. If we can just put a token in there and say, okay, so you have to provide the ingredients and a token that says you're allowed to use the system, and we'll also tell this, hey, as a result, you'll get this back. Which, by the way, when we rewrote our inscriber system, it's possible that if we had told, so we had the issue where it said, hey, I don't have, if we wanted 3 of silicon, it said I don't have 3 silicon presses. But if we had told it that the silicon press was a result of the crafting operation, then I bet it would have let those things queue up. So in theory, even if it only has 1 token in the system, well, we need to test this. It should allow us to do 3 of these, or to queue up 3 of these. And we'll see if that's the case. Because this is not going to do anything right now, but that's okay. If I tell it, hey, I would like, well, we need to give it the token. There we go. And then if I tell it, no. If I tell it that I want 3 of these, okay, it's okay with that. So it's okay, and it can basically just forward that along as something that it knows we're going to need. So if we just throw an import bus on here to test this with, we'll throw that on there for the heck of it, and tell it to craft us up 3 Palace crystals. We'll just manually do this. So it's going to go ahead and start that process. It's going to try Okay, so it puts the token and the ingredients it thinks it needs into there. Let's put this chest down here so we can import from there. We will take out these ingredients and the token, and we will give it back a token and a palace crystal. And it should, it takes those out. And it throws them back in here. Okay, so now it is going to do its own self-regulation, and we don't have to worry about it. So hooray for us, right? Put a token in there, put another palace crystal. It'll go ahead and take those out, and then use the token to allow itself to send another recipe. So now this doesn't need to be a dispenser. It can be whatever the heck we choose, and it's never going to queue up more than one recipe at a time because we can just make sure that the patterns all require that token in order to do the job, and that there's only ever one token that you're allowed to use. However, you may be saying there's a severe challenge with that, and that is that the patterns, it's an issue of space. The patterns can contain they can contain 9 unique ingredients. We have 9 slots. And the question is, do we have any recipes for which that's not enough? So there'll always be this first slot isn't really, if we had a diamond that we need to infuse with a bunch of other diamonds, we can't throw all 6 of them in here because we're going to need to extract this slot separately because we need to know that goes into the middle tier, the middle block. So let's look at the recipes real quick and see if this is going to be an issue. So for the most part, even the ones that have that have 5 and 5, we can just say, hey, 2 energy cores in slot 2, 2 advanced power cells in slot 3, and worry about the round robining to deal with this. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, which leaves us an empty slot for a token. And it looks like going through these recipes, there's at least repeat ingredients in all of them, so we don't actually have to freak out. And it could be that there'll be 1 or 2 recipes that we just cannot autocraft using this token system because we can't make it work. But, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Okay, so that's one of our problems solved, and hooray for that. And we've talked through how we're going to solve some of the other parts. So once we have all the ingredients, we need to then split things out into... So assuming that we've extracted out the center ingredient and the rest of the ingredients, we can easily get the rest of the ingredients to round robin just fine. That's not going to be an issue. However, the last problem that we very desperately need to solve is separating out those ingredients. So let me change this pattern up yet again, because what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh no, come on, token, wood. Where's my token? There it is. I'm going to make wasteful and just call this fusion craft, and I'm going to use a fusion craft. We're going to use a draconic thing to do that, because I feel like this token is kind of dumb. But okay, so we're going to say a fusion craft is going to be the first ingredient, and then we're gonna do our same fake thing from before. I can go ahead and put this in here, I guess. I just want the token to sort of make sense with what we're doing. So we'll say the recipe then is 1 oak wood. And 8 dirt, or some amount of dirt. There we go. And that this will provide us with the palace crystal, because why not? And put that there, and then put that there. So we're going to tell it this is the recipe, and now I'm putting the token right in this top left, so that if we have other systems that require kind of a specific token to make sure we can only do one at a time, that's great. That's fine. And I like this whole idea of just using the token as a secondary output so that it will make sure to queue these up in sequence and not try and do them all at the same time. So if we put that in there, and then we make sure that this fusion craft token is in there, and we take these palace crystals out, and we tell it to craft up 1, please. It's going to put all that stuff into the chest. And what we need to do now is we need to extract the fusion craft, we need to extract the primary ingredient, and then we need to extract all of the rest of things. Now, one way that we could do that is with the ESD from Actually Additions. Let's see about crafting that. This is supposed to be a hopper that's more complicated. We can do things more. We can configure them more. In theory, we could tell that to pull only from a particular slot in an inventory, and maybe that'll work. Let's see if that works. We'll have to craft it up. Okay, so let's make 2 of these then, and we will see how these work. Fingers crossed. Okay, so let's see here. So inbound disabled. This is the first slot in the connected inventory to pull at. So we will tell this to pull from Okay. We can tell it to pull from this direction. Let's see, the slot after the last line of the connection area north, and then push to the south. And of course, I think that is just, yeah, that has pulled all the things, or it is doing so. We want to change this though. Although it is not letting me click in here, which is a bit of a problem. But what we could do is just say from 0 to 1, pull from the north, which means it would only take stuff in this first slot, and that's what we eventually want to have it do. And then we can also tell it to only pull into where, but there we don't necessarily care. There's also the advanced ESD. I wonder if maybe that's something we need to upgrade to be able to configure it this way. Oh, yeah, no, I was definitely doing this wrong. And this is more configurable, but I was looking at the wrong UI slot. I'm almost definitely certain. Of course, yeah, I don't even have to like use it to just figure out, oh yeah, I'm doing it wrong. So we can say from slot 1 to slot there, and from north. From south. Or no, not from south. From north. Slot 0 to 1. And there we go. Okay, yeah. If I type it in here and then hit enter, it changes just fine. Okay. And then we could say put it to the south. Cool. So if we extract these items then, the dirt, the oak wood, and the fusion craft, and we put this, we'll put them back in the system. Let's configure this all up, and then we'll get the rest of this working. So we'll tell this to pull from the south, from slot 1 to slot 2. And so the end is not inclusive. And then tell it to push to the north. Okay? So this should only extract from this slot, and that's great. And then we'll put one more down. We'll use the advanced one because I'm out of the treated planks. I've got to wait for some more of that to melt up. And then we can tell this to extract from, what direction are we facing? The west. Okay? We'll tell it to extract from the west. From slot 2 onward. And we'll tell it to go ahead and put it in to the east. Cool. So, let's see about this then. If I request a palace crystal, what's it gonna do? We're missing the ingredients. What? Why are you missing ingredients? All right, I have no idea. I have no idea how it managed to lose that. I don't know where that went. I might as well also throw an import bus on here so we can complete the craft on our own. But, I must have put it somewhere. Well, okay, fair enough. Let me grab another draconic thing. And name it, oops, put that in there. Name it Fusion Craft. And we'll throw that into the system. There we go. Okay. So now, if I tell it I want a palace crystal, we run this, and we should find, we have dirt in there. What have you done? You extracted both things. No, you weren't supposed to do that. This has extracted no things. Okay, so it's clearly I've misconfigured some of this. This is not, should start at slot 1, thank you. So that's the issue there. That's where, okay. This one, I think is configured just fine, yep, there. And then you didn't do anything for whatever reason. Oh, this is set to whitelist. Okay, yeah, that's the problem when we use advanced stuff okay. Let's try that one more time. Fusion craft in there. Yeah, oak wood, okay. I mean, those are renewable, but whatever. What? I just put your fusion craft back in there. Yeah, I'm very confused as to why those just keep disappearing. We'll try it again, I guess. I mean, maybe I'll discover what the issue is. I mean, I hope that's not an issue. We'll find out, I guess. If I shift click this into here, and we look for Fusion Craft, it's in there. Okay. I don't know why. Weird. Palace Crystal. Give us one of those. No crafting CPU. Oh, that's why. Yeah, because it was in the middle of trying to craft it. Yeah, okay. Palace. Yeah, no, it's still trying to craft 2 of them, and I think, yeah, now it has 3 of the tokens. That's what the issue is they were in the process of trying to be used for crafting reasons. Okay, fair enough. Palace Crystal. And let's tell it to craft 1 and see if it manages to put things in the right spots. So, Yes, we have the token here, and the idea is that we'll hold on to it and then return it into the system when it makes sense, when we can do that. The secondary ingredients are in here, hooray, and then the middle ingredient is in here. So, of course, this doesn't look like anything fancy, but we have solved the quote-unquote hard problems. We're just going to have to sort out some redstone and then get things actually filtering to the right places. What we can do, okay, yeah, no, we're good. We're good. We're excited. I'm just gonna have to do some writing on paper to figure out kind of how all the redstone is gonna have to be set up, because we need to make sure that we don't release this until such time as we're ready to. So we'll put it back into an import system when we've decided that it's safe to do so, when it's safe to distribute another craft, which probably isn't until probably isn't until we actually get stuff back. So yeah, that is what it is. Yeah, the middle ingredient we can easily just route over. And then this, we just need to pipe over into a round robin system. We do need to make sure that we are tracking when this becomes, or when the secondary system becomes empty again. And then after some appropriate delay to allow the ingredients all to get to their spots, we'll fire off a redstone pulse to the fusion crafting core to actually start the process. And just for the record, while I do appreciate this advanced ESD having these customizable stuff, what would be really cool is if we could specify multiple ranges in a single thing, so that we could just basically say anything from this side, put slots 0 through 4 over to the west, put slots 5 through 7 over to the right, and whatever. And then we could use one of these rather than have 3 of these eating from the same inventory. That'd be cool. Just my own 2 cents. Okay, I was thinking this was going to be absolute craziness, but I don't think it's honestly going to be as bad as I thought. It does look kind of gross, though. Which is kind of a bummer. We need to be able to input and extract from the fusion crafting core. So, we need to be able to do that. And we don't know the item type, so we can't just do something fancy weird. Okay. So it's, it's going to look a little meh, but that's okay. LPEC slot device. This changes the name of what it decides it is every time we look at it, which is fun. So the ESDs. Let's walk through here. One of these is going to be for extracting the completed item, and it will throw this down into this chest. One of them is going to be from taking stuff from our input chest and putting that up into here. This side, I think, is going to be a replica of what we had prototyped up there. We will pull out the crafting ingredient and throw it over here. We will pull out the, yeah, so the main ingredient, we will pull up and put it in there. The secondary ingredients, we will pull over to here and probably into a chest right there. In fact, yeah, let's plan on putting that right there. And we can always try and tidy stuff up later, although I remain skeptical about, I'm a little skeptical about how tidy we're going to be able to make this. So that'll go there, and then we will route some cables over to here. Another thing that we're going to have to do is get into signalum, I guess. Sorry, I've been saying signalum pipes, because they transmit both power and items, and we need to get both power and items to these things, to our crafting injectors. But anyway, this will be the secondary items. And initially when I was thinking about this, I was thinking, okay, well, we're going to have to track when this gets some items and then gets rid of all of them and then set a delay. But really, no, we can just track, hey, is there, once we've noticed that, hey, we're waiting on a craft, we can just set a reasonable delay and just, figure out how long it's going to take to get everything in here and then fire off the actual pulse when we're ready to do that. So we're not gonna try and make this overcomplicated by tracking to see, hey, have all of the items left our secondary chest? Do we know that they're distributed? Blah, blah, blah. We'll just give it enough time so that we don't have to worry about it. And then this one, we'll go ahead and grab our token, and I guess we'll put that, I've made a little bit of a dirt platform under there because we're gonna have to do a little bit of wiring up. But not too much, honestly. So this will extract our token, throw it into this chest, and then once we are done with the craft, we'll have another ESD right here, and it will take this from there and put this into there. So we only have the one import, the import chest right here and the export chest right here. The import chest goes out in 3 directions. The export chest gets stuff from 2 directions, those being the result of the craft and then the token that it's going to get back. So let's configure these well we can. So let's remind ourselves of exactly how we set these up in the first place. Let's look at our pattern. That's not the right interface. This is our pattern. So the first thing is the token. The second thing is the core ingredient, and then everything else is secondary ingredients. So if this is our input setup, the first thing is the token. That's right here. So what we're going to want to do is pull from the south side. So we'll say pull from the south only up to slot 1. And then put it on the never eat stale wheat west, right? Nope, I was wrong. And push it to the east. Okay? So if we manually put something in here, which we can't even do. You know what? I'm gonna let's replace these chests just because that's going to be annoying for us to debug this. We'll just we'll put crates there instead. These have EMC, so we can use those instead of chests just with no problem. It's a little wasteful because these have plenty more spots than we actually need, but that's okay. Where is my? There we go. Diamond axe, and yeah, we'll just swap these out. So then we don't have to worry about access. There we go. Okay, so this should do that. And by the way, I did also test. We can apply a redstone signal to these ESDs because they are supposed to be advanced hoppers. You can apply a redstone signal to stop them, which is important for getting our token to not immediately transfer into the export chest. Okay, so if we put something in the first slot, it should extract it into here. It does. Okay, good. So that you are done. Then the second slot, it needs to throw stuff in here. And I did also test that if we try and extract, it's not going to extract from the input slot. So we should be okay here. This one I may have started to configure. We need to pull from below and only slot, let's see, pull from down and push it out to the south, correct? Now from down, we want to pull from slot 1 and up to not including a slot 2, and I need to make sure to hit enter both of these times, okay? So then, if we put something into slot 2, like the engineer's hammer, it should extract it, and it does. It puts it in the fusion crafting. Perfect. And then the last input is going to pull from the east, starting at slot 2, up to, sure, 117. We don't care. And then it's going to push to the west. And if we just throw some random... Well, okay, those are going to go in various places. Let's throw a bunch of stuff in here. Okay, these all end up in here. Fine. This is going to have issues, I think. Yeah. And then this has pushed the rest of the stuff over to here. Good, good, good. Okay, so our input stuff is actually, believe it or not, all configured. The output then, which we're not going to easily be able to test without actually doing a fusion recipe, so the output is going to be to take stuff from the west, right? Finally, yes, okay, the west is the opposite of the east. From the west. And, okay, yeah, cool. Actually, well, we'll double check, and we'll say put it down. Let's just make sure if we put something in here, it's not going to take it out, right? It does not. Okay. And then if something is broken with it at doing the correct extraction, well, at least this one is accessible, so we'll be able to get at it. I'm trying to keep this stuff not terribly, looking gross, but also, not requiring a ton of wiring underneath either. Okay. So, last thing we need then is something that will route things to our output chest. And I guess let's clear out. Let's get rid of this one so we can at least continue to access our output chest. I suppose suppose for the moment we'll get rid of this too so we can continue to poke at our input chest. Okay, so then this ESD will go here, and it needs to pull from the north to the south, and it doesn't need to be configured to care about slots at all, because we'll only ever have the token in here. So if I put something in here, it pulls it out and throws it into there. This is the export chest. What we need to make sure to do is to lock it by sending some redstone at it. And I think we'll eventually replace this stuff with RF Tools redstone, but for now, this should work. If I put this like so, like this, then if we put stuff into this chest, like the service course wrench, it's not going to do it. But as soon as we get rid of this, then we get the service course wrench. Now, we'll put this down there because I think that's also going to run into there, which we don't want. We'll probably, have an RF Tools thing pointed right here, pointed that way. That's what we'll plan on doing. But this is the thing that we'll want to actually toggle so that we only pull stuff. Actually, let me think. Yeah, we'll only pull stuff out once we're done doing our crafting. Okay, so what we're going to need now are 2 inventory checkers. So yeah, let's try and get this basic redstone set up quickly. And the floor's going to start to look, the floor's going to start to look very interesting. We're not going to have a very significant pattern. Did we learn the inventory? I don't think we have used it. Oh, you know what? There we go. Inventory checker. Perfect. Okay. And the idea here is we need to check our input chest. We need to pull a signal from our input chest, which may be a little bit annoying. That's okay. We'll go ahead and move this real quick. Thank you. And we will pull out a signal from our input chest. And we'll send it in this direction. No, not like that. All right, and then let's use our wrench to turn this around. Oh, no. Well, fine, whatever. Okay, that works. And then slot 0, amount 1. Sure. All we're doing is we're waiting to see, hey, did anything end up in our import chest? And later on, we will do stuff with that. That's going to be something that we need to, we'll use a sequencer and then say, after a little while, we should trigger the fusion crafting core itself, okay? So once, we'll make sure to send a redstone pulse up to it after we've had sufficient time to get all of our ingredients in place. This is just our detection that we have begun to need to think about crafting stuff. Next bit that we're going to need, though, is an inventory checker out of the output chest. And I wish there was a way to put these on a separate, on a different, on the top, because we can't do like top slabs as far as I understand. But that's okay. Let's go ahead and, these place a little bit backwards. The next one is just the output chest. We're going to say, hey, if you have one thing in your output, then hooray, we can go ahead and release the token, because that means our craft is done. Okay, so then what we can do is just take, plain old redstone. And we'll need some dirt to make this work. But this should allow us to release the token. So if our wrench is the token, and we have just finished a craft. Oh, okay. Weird. Do we maybe have some? Why are we getting something out of there? That's very weird. Oh, no. We need to invert this. Derp. Yeah. Silly me. That needs to be inverted. Give this thing a torch because it needs to be locked by default. Okay. Now let's try it again. Where's my wrench? There. It's still there. Okay. So we have a wrench that's serving as our token. It's waiting to give permission to do more crafting. Let's say we were trying to craft our slime sling. We have crafted our slime sling, and now the wrench goes in there too, and it is allowed, it can reap the benefits of those things. So now we're holding on to this until we are done, and that's great. Hooray, forever. So in theory, all we have left, there are three things. One is to get the items out of the secondary ingredients chest and get those distributed. That's going to require us to learn signal them. And then we just need to add a sequencer to add a delay here. We need to bring the signal up and around into the fusion crafting core. Which actually, we're sending it into this block, so we may not need to worry too much. Actually, you know what we ought to do, since we're trying to immediately extract stuff from the input anyway, we shouldn't pull a signal off of the input. We should pull a signal off of the token slot. Yeah, that makes more sense because the token slot is going to be, it should have an item in it until we're done with the craft. Otherwise, we're setting ourselves up for, potential race conditions. Oop, that was almost annoying. Okay, so inventory checker like that, and then let's put a redstone there. Is that getting? Let's see. No, that's not quite doing what we wanted to do. Right, because it's getting redstone. It's getting redstone from somewhere. Don't really know where exactly that's getting redstone from. Just to verify, if I do this, yeah, okay, so the signal does not go up here, which is kind of annoying. But if we put redstone down there, then it would. Something. Yes, okay. And then I think we could actually just use RF Tools wires, and send them over here, which might be the way to go because they won't accept power from below or above. So then we don't have to worry about routing crazy stuff. Have we learned wires? We have not. Okay. Here is the wire. It's nice and easy. Let's give me a bunch of those. Boom. 7. Okay, that'll work. And it has EMC, so we're fine. Wire. Thank you. I always confuse which Which station is that? But that's okay. We'll put this here. Nope, opposite. Why does this... Oh, well. Why is this... Why does this have power? Why is this powered? That makes no sense to me. If this is off... Why are you powered? Or at least you seem to be powered. Why do you seem to be powered? If I put a redstone here... Okay, no, it's not powered. It just visually looks like it's powered. Fair enough. Okay, we'll put this here. We'll put this here. And we don't have to worry about these... because they're not actually charged. They just look like they are. Then we'll just rotate these. And this does hide some of the stuff we want hidden, which is nice. You know what? Do we just say to heck with it and use emitters and receivers? Or transmitters and receivers? Because I don't understand why this does not bridge the gap, but it does not. And I'm just worried about interaction effects that we don't want to have to worry about. Well, I mean, we could also just route this further around, I suppose. Maybe it's that redstone torch right there. Maybe that's the issue. I suppose we could just do like this and try and route it that way. Let's put things right there. Oh, gosh, no. Well, that's fine in a moment. This wire. And then just rotate these. Nope, we're not getting signal through there. That's weird. Let's try avoiding using stuff. Is it? Yeah, okay, so that's not good. Take those out, please. Yeah, we need to avoid that whole process. So is this going to be an issue? If we route this around here, but then block it off with something like that, then if we power this, are we going to have problems? No, this does not get powered that way, which is good. Cool. Okay, we maybe to heck with these wires then. This chest, I forget. I think I was just playing around with stuff. So yeah, we can get rid of that. We'll just put redstone down. We can eventually try and use wires to maybe pretty this up, or we can just set up redstone receivers and whatnot. That's also a possibility. I don't entirely know how it's probably the case that we could clean this up considerably by putting these things vertically, but I don't entirely understand how that works just yet. So well, I don't know. Something we can learn. And then we need to actually route this out like this and like that. Okay? Except not exactly like that, because one of the things we're going to need is a sequencer so that we can significantly delay the, hey, go ahead and try and trigger the craft, right? Cool. And just as an aside, I do kind of wish that there was on RF tools, because this sequencer seems like too much for us. Oh, wait a second. If I change the sequence length, the sequencer would work. The sequencer here would work just fine. I almost want to do something else, though. I almost want to use a timer, because it makes more intuitive sense to me. Because this, we can set it to be disabled while it has a redstone signal, so we can just invert what's coming out of here. Yeah, and that makes more sense, because what I really would like would be a block that's just, delay. So basically, it repeats whatever it gets. It just delays it by a significant amount of time. Okay. So this right now is trying to force a craft to happen. Of course, there's no start button, so it's not going to be able to do anything. What we would want this to do... So yeah, pause while redstone active, and that means we can just go ahead and invert the signal coming out of here, which is great. And there we go. So now this is not going to be able to do anything, but as soon as something is in here, it's going to try and... come on. Did you not... What? Did I put something in the wrong spot? Oh, no. It took it out, because it... Yeah, okay. There. Now something's in here, and it says, hey, continue to try and craft stuff. Because we have the token, we're going to try and craft things. But we want to significantly set this... We want to set this delay up by a fair bit, because we want to make sure that there's enough time to get everything in place. Now, we don't care that it's trying multiple times. We just want to make sure... Well, I don't think it should matter. Let's make it 200. So basically, when there's a token, it's going to wait 10 seconds and then send a pulse over to the Fusion Crafting Core. So hopefully that'll be enough time for us to get all of our ingredients in place. Maybe not. We'll find out. Okay, so the last thing we need is the signalum. And we need the signalum item ducts, because sorry, the signalum-plated item ducts. And ideally, we want the signalum-plated in impulse item ducts. And yeah, that just means we need to add electrum and signalum. So we have to learn signalum. That should be fairly straightforward. We just need, we need signalum blend, which is just pulverized silver and pulverized copper, which is nice and easy. I think we have, do we still have pulverized? You know what? We've got this. Yeah, we've got our crusher. We should be all good. Let's grab a stack of silver. Let's grab a stack of copper, and then we'll have a grand old time. We'll just hop up in here and boom, let that crush up. Let that crush up too. There we go. We got a lot of that going on. And it's actually, I think it's going to be easier to not do it in dust form because we would need a bucket of destabilized redstone anyway. So do we have redstone in here? Ooh, molten conductive iron. Okay, apparently we've got that in there. Yeah, I guess we're going to need some redstone. I don't want to put too much in here because we're already getting kind of full. Maybe let's pour out some bronze blocks just to clear out some space. And of course, I shouldn't have thrown so much stuff in here. I'm an idiot. You know what? We have molten signalum in here already. I guess we must have already had some of the ingredients. Cool. Let's take some electrum, finish up this plate. There you go. Thank you. Thank you for coming. And get rid of that. Throw this ingot in here. And I'm trying to hurry because I'm worried that we're just going to end up with some random alloy. Molten signalum, and go, please. And then we will have learned that, and then we can plate our stuff, and it will be amazing. Here we go, perfect. Okay, signalum ingot is now learned. Now we can learn the signalum-plated item ducts. And that's just, we need some electrum and some signalum. And I forget what it actually wants us to learn. Let's take a look here. Signalum-plated item ducts, and then signalum-plated impulse item ducts. Okay, fair enough. Let's take some item ducts then. And we will signalum-plate them. Signalum-plated item ducts. Go ahead and craft up a whole bunch of those. There we go. We have one thing learned. And then we'll go ahead and just throw this in the fluid transposer, I think. And we'll just transposify some of this. And this should go... no, well, whatever. And this is giving us some signalum-plated item ducts, which is fast and transmits power. That's the important thing, is that it needs to do both of those because we need to power... Man, I should not have turned on that crusher. We need to both power these injectors and also transfer the items from here into them. I think that's at least almost done. I apologize for the noise. I'm sure that must be very frustrating. But anyway, we'll go ahead and pick up this real quick because we're going to need to... I suppose we could have done it from below, but why not? We'll go ahead and just do it out this way. Let's run our signalum-plated impulse item ducts. So these should be fast and provide power, which is great news because we'll have to connect them because the signalum plating gives them the power. They've got the power, and we will go ahead and just set this up. So we'll put one here, and eventually we'll have 5 in both of these corners. But for the moment, we don't have all of them done. The last thing we need to actually, I shouldn't have put this back just yet. Whoops. All right. We need to throw reinforced servo on here, and we need to tell this that the stack size that it is allowed to use is a stack size of 1. So if we throw 6 diamonds in there, it should throw them into 1 by 1. Now, we could also go through here and shift left click, which we just discovered, to turn this thing into single item mode. But whatever, this works too. We don't need to worry about redstone. No, we don't need to worry about redstone. We do want to tell this to round robin, because we don't want it to put multiple of the same thing into a space. Okay? So, now all I have to do is I have to wire these up to here as well. Which I wonder, do we want to do that underneath, or do we... Nah, we're fine. And of course, we don't need this extra energy cell, but I don't know. I think it looks pretty. There. And then, we'll eventually have one right here. And sure, let's, I'm going to need a couple more. And there we go. That looks lovely. I like it. Okay. Let's put this power cell back. Is this one configured? Yes, it is. Okay, cool. And in theory... that's all the things. Let's just make sure we've taken out our test objects. Oh, why did I put items back? I shouldn't. I still need access to our chest. This is our input chest. And in theory, if we provide it the materials needed, it should, the challenge is that we need to be able to dump everything in at once, which our interface should be able to do, but we may not be able to do. Well, maybe. We'll see. Let's set this up as though we were going to do a craft. Let's actually find a fusion crafting recipe that we can do, and then we'll see if this works. So yeah, what about upgrading our Wyvern fusion crafting injector, because we have one here that's not up to date. It only required, let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8. The recipe only required 8, right? Let's double check that. It only required 8. So if we remove this one, it's not going to break anything. It should still be able to do what it needs to do. And these should all still be able to get power, which is great. Why are they not getting? Oh, right, they don't pull power until they're actually doing a craft. So that's why. That can be a little bit confusing. So let's just gather up the materials for that. And then I'm hoping if I just shift click and then kind of drag across, we should be able to do that. So that's going to be 4 diamonds. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2 draconic cores, which we have 2. A wyvern core, and then a draconium block. We have, oh, perfect. We've got a draconium block. And then do we have a wyvern core? I'm guessing no, but we should be able to craft one. Yes, we can. Okay. Cool. So then, yeah, if we just hold shift and throw all those items in, we should hopefully get very lucky and see this whole thing work. This is assuming that none of these managed to start extracting stuff before I can get everything in here. So here's our input chest, and boom. Perfect. That's extracting all the stuff. And this may try and start crafting before it's ready, but it put that in the right place. We have our token here waiting, letting us know that we should start crafting, and it is trying to get us to craft. It is putting all these items here. We can see the duct is, let's see. We're missing some diamonds, though. Where are the extra diamonds? Did I put enough in here? They're not there. Did this pull more than it was supposed to? Let's see. What did we have there? We have 3 diamonds there. That's not great. Okay. So put those, yeah, so it should have split those up, but it did not. If I put this here, now this is, remember, only going to try and craft every 10 seconds, but we can at least test if the redstone works. Oh, there we go. Okay, so the redstone did trigger the crafting, and it did put most of the ingredients in. It just managed to stack diamonds, which is weird because this we configured the duct not to do that. Can I can't quite get at it, can I? Okay, I can't get at it. But did it extract the thing? Let's see. There's our output chest. It did, and it put the Fusion Craft token in there. Amazing. Okay, cool. That's fantastic news. Now we've gone ahead and upgraded our thing, and hooray. Great. So, I guess I can pull this up and check. Yeah, we have limited the stack size to 1, so I'm not sure why it didn't round robin all of them. It should have put them in all of these, unless this somehow wasn't connected. But no, it did put items over here as well. So I don't know why it decided to end up stacking stuff. It shouldn't have. I think the easiest fix is to just go through and set these all into single item mode. And then we shouldn't have that issue, because basically they should not accept stuff if we try and put more in there. We can just test that by saying, yeah, put a fluid duct in there. And yeah, it only takes the 1. Cool. Okay. So that should at least fix that problem, and then we should be all set. The only other thing that I'm going to do is I think it felt like 10 seconds might be a little fast, unfortunately. So let's make it 15 seconds. Now all we've got to do is actually set up the interface and stuff, the interface and the export to the system. So let's do that real quick. And I'm nervous to break some of these because I don't know if we've got redstone sitting on top of them. I think with some of them we certainly do. I suppose we could also try and send a redstone pulse up from below as well. I don't know. Okay, this was our import, so we need the interface to sit on here. And then our import bus needs to sit on, to gather the output of those materials. We've got some Fluix cable. It's not ultimately the cable we want to be using eventually, but that's okay. And then I did mention we are going to try and clean up cabling eventually once we have creative flight figured out, but yeah, we're not there yet. So we'll just go ahead for the moment and make this look gross. Hang on. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, we've got that. I'll pull this down here, and let me just go. I'm just going to grab some dense cable, and I'm just gonna dirt path our way over to there, and we'll just connect it up so that it's on the network, and then we'll make it look pretty another time. Okay, we've got a hook up here. Oh man, this is all sorts of ugly. That's okay. Not the end of the world. I don't think we're gonna break anything. We'll find out though. Yeah, I mean, eventually we'll get into peer-to-peer stuff. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how far, how much longer we've actually got in this series. So it's a kind of an open question as to how much time we want to spend investing in making our system super nice and clean. Oh, right, that's over there. Cool. Fair enough. You can go there. And now this import bus. Oh, it's missing a channel. What are you talking about? Okay, yeah, no, because we had our own whole controller phase. You should definitely not be missing a channel. Let's go ahead and find a recipe we can easily craft. And you know, I forgot that basically the only thing we can craft right now with these is the upgrading. Yeah, because the only thing you can use with the only thing that's basic tier is crafting the Wyvern tier, and then the only thing with the Wyvern tier is crafting the Draconic tier. So we'll have to, yeah, we'll definitely have to get these upgraded. Let's go ahead and craft up one of these real quick. Because I know we need another, we need just one more to throw on there. Yeah, we'll craft one of those into the system. We've got, let's see, Draconic cores. Do we have enough of those? We've got them in there. Let's look at the recipe. 2 Draconic cores. Okay, yes. And then do we have Draconium blocks? Yes, we have 1. Okay, so in theory, we have all the ingredients. Let's just go ahead and encode a proper pattern now. We'll teach our AE system how to do this. It's right over here. Yep. Ah, there it is. Okay. And way back when, we forgot to cancel the job. I was trying to figure, because I know we ended up with 3 of these by accident. In fact, can I just remove, yeah, let's remove the names off of 2 of these. No, I can't. All right, whatever. That's fine. Let's be super wasteful. We'll keep 1, get rid of the 2. Because, yeah, I don't want to get us screwed up here. Okay. So let's learn this pattern. We decided that the pattern is going to be the thing. And then the base ingredient, where if we look here, the base ingredient is the basic fusion crafting injector. So that's going to go in there. And then what are the other things we need? We need 1 Wyvern core, 2 Draconic core, a Draconium block. So Wyvern core, 2 Draconic cores. Let's see there. 2 Draconic cores, a Draconium block, and then 4 diamonds. There we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Teach it that. And this is the pattern that we can teach it. And what we do is, we also have to teach it that, hey, you're going to get back Fusion Craft as your secondary. Oh, and then we've got to pick up one of these so that we have the item as reference. So we're teaching, hey, this is how you get a Wyvern Fusion Crafting Injector. Okay, so now we have taught it this amazing pattern. And it should now, in theory, be able to create a bunch of these from scratch automatically. Now, of course, there's not really we need to craft one of them. But hey, we can do it automatically. And of course, as we advance these up the tiers, we'll be in a much better spot. All right, and I just want to make sure. Yeah, I don't trust my interface terminal. I want to make sure that we get this in the right spot. Let me jump down here. Thank you. Yep, and this is the interface that we want to interact with. This is where we're going to teach it, and this is, yes, we're teaching you this recipe. Cool, cool, cool. So now you alone know how to create fusion crafting cores. So let's see if it will make one for us. Can you craft one of these? Missing. Right, we need to put the token in the system. There we go. And there we go. It should be able to craft one of these. Let's see what happens. Look at that. We can watch the items. They're popping up. 3. It is going a little bit slower than maybe with, like, I'm worried the clock is going to go off. No, maybe 15 seconds isn't. No, okay, yeah, the clock was a little fast, but yeah, that's okay. We'll go ahead and set the timer. That should have been enough if it was 400. And the good news is also it seems that throwing additional pulses at it doesn't seem to be an issue, so we don't have to worry too much. But look at that. We had to do no manual interaction, and it is going to pull this stuff. And it really better. It really better pull this stuff back into our system. It's going to pull both of those. The crafting job will end. There we go. And of course, the clock is still going because there's stuff now. The clock is turned off because we've moved the token out from our lock, and it's in there. Everything should be back in the system. Let's go ahead and take a look. There we go. 1 Wyvern Fusion Crafting Injector. Ladies and gentlemen, we have automated fusion crafting. How phenomenal is that? I will answer that for you. It is very, very phenomenal. So, still a lot to go through, especially we look at some of the recipes here to get us to the more advanced cores and whatnot. But now we have the system in place. We should be able to automate. We should be able to teach a pattern just to upgrade to the next set of things. The draconic fusion crafting injector. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, these are all. Well, I suppose the Awakened Draconium block we're also going to have to learn. So we're going to have to teach this recipe first. And yeah, from then on, we're pretty much home free. We'll just get autocraft all of our ways to all of the things. So I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and I will see you next time. Cheers.